Meanwhile, travel to Tanzania with me. All right, y'all. Now we're visiting the former, wow, East African slave trade, which is very interesting because when you think of the slave trade, you always think of West Africa and the Gold Coast, the Ivory Coast. You rarely ever hear of the slave trade in East Africa. So much so, a lot of people from East Africa actually act as if slavery never touched them. But the difference is a lot of the enslaved people brought from East Africa were brought to other countries and not necessarily the United States of America.
Halo, mnatoka mtoto? Halo, mnatoka mtoto? Just stay one side. Na wewe ndo unatoka ndo unaingia? Mimi nasubiri tu watoke. Twendeni wadau. Jambo. Okay, we go guys. You come this way. This is just like in the you come this way. Come close to me.
Ooh, child.
Squeeze closer to me.
Okay. She's very sensitive. She can feel the spirits.
Market in the East Africa, and it's where the slaves were sold and bought. And this market was introduced by the first time, by Portuguese. And these Portuguese, they were just going to attack people in different corners of the East Africa and Central Africa. Like East Africa is like Tanganyika, Kenya and Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, Zimbabwe, Angola, Malawi. So all of those corner, and some from South Africa. These people were brought here, and they were sold like animals. And the market was conducted by auction. So people were here is where the market was taking place in the whole East Africa, and it was the capital. And this market was introduced by the Portuguese. These people were tested before they were sold. They were tested. They were supposed to be tested to see who are stronger and who are not stronger. So 2 days they were supposed to be in the underground chambers. So now we have only 2 of these chambers, but before these were 50, 25 with this size and 25 with that size. So these 25 chambers with this size, they were carrying each 50 men. 2 days. I don't know how 50 people can fit in a small like this. And there was no a way like we came. It was, they used to have these chambers used to have like upper holes. It's like a roof. They were opening the roof and getting down. And they were kept here for 2 days. No meal, no drinks, plus not even enough fresh air. Look, this has been expanded just like to give more light. Even if there is electricity, but still is not enough, they open this. After 2 days in here, so they were taken out. There was a tree, I will show you, and now the church is standing there. But before the church, there was a tree called Hoba Tree. So they were tying under the Hoba Tree and beating them. So those who are crying, they were seemed to be not stronger. So even the price was low. And some of them, those who were sent in different countries, some to even Arabs country, they were castrated. Men were castrated. There was no intermarriage, and in case if they will try to do it, so no blood can stay there.
Yeah.
That's why they were castrating them.
It's like, as far as slavery goes and enslaved people, you always hear about the West African story. I don't think I've ever heard of the East African slave trade. So much so, I didn't even know it existed.
So it's very, very sad, my dear. What happened here? Sometimes if you think in deeply, tears are coming out because it's very sad news. So, but by 1873 is when the market became official closed. So when the market was closed, the slaves was not like the slave trade was not like over. Still it was, but not anymore. Here they went somewhere. It's called Mangapwani. There's a place called Mangapwani away from Stone Town. There is a natural coral cave. Is where the black market was taking place. So maybe this is the reason of Black Friday. What is just saying? Maybe it's Black Friday, but I don't think if it is Black Friday. But what I know, there was a black market.
And you said so here it was over in 18. What was the date?
The end.
Yeah, for in
1873.
Here. 1873.
Yeah, it's when the market was closed.
And then, but the black markets kept taking place.
The black market was taking place somewhere else. Yeah. Okay, excuse me.
I can't even stand up straight. Look at this.
Yes, we're leaving out of here. Then you have to.
It's way.
The things our people have gone through and continue to go through. And in here, 75 women and children.
Okay. Oh, wow. You come?
When you think about the fact that slavery, this slave market ended in 1873, a good, let's say 15 years after it was supposedly abolished in the United States of America, it makes you wonder, who were they selling to? Even after the legal part was ended here, they were still selling them on the black market away from Stone Town. Who were the customers? 1873, 1973, 2073 isn't even here yet. Less than 200 years. Less than 200 years out of slavery. But yet we are taught or told or try to be convinced to believe that racism is gone. Less than 200 years, less than 150 years from these atrocious things happening to people who look like me, people who may look like you. Yet we are told that every time a police kills a brown person, it just was an accident. We are told that these things are not intentional, but less than 150 years, these things were intentionally happening to people brown like me. So there used to be a jojoba tree that stood where this tree now stands. At this tree is where they would actually beat the people they were enslaving, and they would continue to beat them to see who would not cry, who was stronger, and those people were sold at a higher price, and those who would break and would cry, they were considered to be weak, and they would sell them for a lesser price.
But still, the Sultan of Oman was ruling Zanzibar, and until by 1964 is when Zanzibar was independent. Yeah.
It reminds me of, is this propaganda? Because if we're told that in 1863, 1865, slavery ended in the United States of America, is that true? Because who were the customers? It didn't end here until like 1873. Who were the customers? So you know what I mean? So it's like,
You're right.
yeah, the propaganda. Exactly. Because he says that even at 1873, this is when it closed here, but it was still doing on the black market.
Black market.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so it's like everything that you're taught to believe, you have to question. Because who does it serve? Who does it serve telling some? Because you say in 1863, 65, 68, they know that the people who would remember are no longer here, and we can only know what they supposedly tell us. You know? Because it's like, was it over?
And you ain't gonna make yourself look bad when you tell the story.
But like, here in East Africa, especially here in Zanzibar, the market, the slave trade ended exactly officially by 1909.
Wow. 1909.
Exactly was disappeared.
Wow.
This market was ended by 1873.
Okay. But then it was the black market. It was underground.
Yeah. Then the black market started at Mangapwani. Then that was like,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, who are your customers?
Yeah. Because we know.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you were the customer.
Yeah.
You know, America tries to say not us. You know, Great Britain tries to say, oh no, we helped them end it.
Yeah.
Wow.
The thing is, this was traded by, the Arabs. Are the ones who are doing it
originally.
Wow.
Those who started Europeans were Portuguese. But later on, Arabs were, but those Portuguese who ran away from here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they where they went, they stopped. No, they were still doing it.
Yeah.
But I think they were doing it in another way. Maybe they were like agents collecting people.
Well, in America,
when they go, they buy from them like this. So in any way, there was still.
America, they called it sharecropping. Now they call it jail. The prison system is the new slave market.
Because Zanzibar still the black market was taking place, so 20 years later, after the market being closed, the British noticed that there is a black market. So what they did, they decided to build a prison. There is an island called the Prison Island. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that island, it was about to dismiss the slave trading. So they went there, built a prison, and their plan was to host all those slave traders in that prison for 100 years. And once the prison was ready, before the operation starts, the cholera disease and the yellow fever disease occur in the island here. And because this was spreading very fast and killing many people, so they decided to change their plan. Instead of using the prison like prison, then they use like a quarantine hospital.
Interesting.
Wow.
So this is why the island called Prison Island.
Wow.
There are some giant turtles. That's where people can go and see the giant turtles. Big tortoise, they are lane tortoise. Over how the slaves were treated. They were chained neck to neck from one place to another. From the day they became slaves until where they were bought.
When was this church built?
When?
Mm-hmm. When?
1873. Once the market was closed on spot, the church was started built.
And this church is still active to this day.
Definitely. Every Sunday.
You said 1873?
Yeah.
So once the markets were closed, this church, they started building this church.
And the church was completed by 1880.
On the grounds of the slave market, which is so freaking interesting. I don't even know what that's about. Every time you visit slave markets around the world, there's a freaking church around the world. There's a church. What the heck does that say?
Which is not based for anything, just by.
Ah, they're not calling him Jesus, they're calling him Yeshua.
Oh. So the original Hoba Tree was located where this church was built.
So when he died, his body was buried behind of the altar. His grave is behind of the altar.
All right. So is it in the ground, like in the floor?
In the ground, yeah.
Like how far down? Like is there a basement to the church?
No, just inside here.
Oh, okay.
Behind of this altar is where the grave is.
All right. So his body is behind the altar.
At front here is where, if you stand here, you can see around like this spot over there. Up.
Oh.
So that round spot is where exactly the Hoba Tree was planted. The Hoba Tree is at front of on the ground.
So these are the oldest two pipe organs in Africa. This one is here, and the other one is in South Africa. Wow. And it still works. So working pipe organ.
I can't get you out of my mind. It's like I feel it for the first time. Been thinking about you all night. I've been searching for this all my life. You're just my type.